Hi, I'm Mike Thompson. Somebody asked a question online recently. Can you take these Supower Maxeon solar cells and cut them in half and still have them work? Well, I don't know the answer to that question. I do know that if they're just cracked and bent, they still generate power. So what I'm going to do is figure out if these can be cut, and if so, how, and if they can be cut and how, do they actually still generate some voltage? Let's find out. Okay, so the point of this is to figure out how to best cut solar cells in half, if it's even possible. You can see here with the scissors that this one edge here turned out okay. It's a little bit splintered along the cut line, but not too bad. Now this is a dead cell just to experiment with. And what I did was cut from positive to negative and use the lines on the back as guides to make a nice straight cut. This I use scissors. I want to see if it's also possible to maybe just use a sharp knife. I'll line up my ruler with the lines on the back of the cell. Oh boy. So you can see face down like that, I got this line of splinters of just cell dust. Yes, it did cut, but it was not a very clean cut. If I do it face up, I'm going to use light pressure to score it first. Nothing. I'm going to push down hard and I'm going to do it. Well, as you can see, that's pretty much the same. I got about the same amount of splintering as I did face down, but I didn't have the guidelines, so I definitely want to cut it face down. Also, to contain all this dust that comes off, I'd rather that be under the cell. But then again, that is going to scratch the face of the cell. Let me try something else. Let's see if tape gives us any better result. Okay, that contained the shrapnel quite well. As you can see here, there's almost no cutting dust, whereas over here in these two lines, there was a bunch of dust. It's very attractive dust, but still. All right, now I'll pull the tape loose and let's see what we got. Yeah, it's about the same. Just it didn't prevent the splintering. It just eliminated the dust going on the table. The front of the cell, though, seems unaffected by the tape. So the tape didn't really seem to do much other than contain the dust. You can see here all the splinters now stuck to my tape instead of on the table. So that's probably a minimal benefit. I guess, you don't want to scratch your cells regardless, and having an untaped cell face down in proximity to all the dust, if you move it, it's going to scratch. The dust is going to scratch your cell, so maybe use tape, that's up to you. I guess I'll try scissors with the tape. You can see there, after flipping this over, the dust on the bottom has picked up, made a few extra scratches. The edge is very splintered once again. Since this is such a brittle material, there's no way to cut this without basically splintering your cut line completely. Okay, so now the question remains. Yes, this is cuttable. It is not super pretty. The question remains though, if it's cut, does it still generate power? Let's find out. 0.572 volts. You can see this cell is still good, even though it's cracked right down the center. Now these cells are flexible cells, but minimally so. I wouldn't flex them more than about that. As you can see here, this one did get, I'll show you that crack. You can see the crack there right down the center, diagonally. So it got bent in half, but it is still generating full power. We're going to see if now we can cut it. Would you look at that? 0.535 volts. Well, I'd say that's pretty definitive, wouldn't you? The Supower Maxeon solar cells can be cut in half and still generate nearly the full voltage. I'm actually rather surprised that that was the case. Not really, but kind of at the same time. So this is definitely something that you guys can do. I, of course, wouldn't recommend you do this. It's kind of a pain to do. It makes an awful mess when you actually make the cut. Putting tape on your cut certainly helps. And just make sure that you cut from positive to negative. And it appears that you can cut pretty much anywhere along the cell as long as you still have at least one positive and one negative terminal left. This will work. So I'm quite surprised. But hopefully you guys can find a useful application for doing this. I don't think I ever will, but you never know. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm Mike Thompson, and thanks for watching. I really appreciate it.